Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Conversations with the Soul. I'm Rita Hickman, and I'm a body-mind expert and shiatsu massage therapist in Northern Illinois. And this week, we've been talking about the chakras, how to activate them, what they are, what to do with them, what they're good for, all sorts of things like that. And so to give a brief outline on the chakras from a body-mind perspective. Good morning, Sherry. From a body-mind perspective, the chakras are parts of your body that are almost bundles of ideas, thoughts, beliefs, centers of physical activity. They're parts of your body, and they can be recognized, they can be photographed, they can be, good morning, Kathy, they can be seen if you have the ability, the right technology, and felt, definitely felt, a few feet away from your body. So when I'm talking about the chakras and when I'm talking about, auras and things like that, from a body-mind perspective, I talk about how these things start in the body, and because of the wavelength that they give off, because of what they're associated with, and because of what organs and sensations and nerve endings and things, good morning, Mark, are located in those parts of the body, the wavelength that they give off can be measurable away from you. In fact, they say that in healing, one of the most important parts is the healer. Because when the healer spends a lot of time in a good space, has healthy thoughts, is able to navigate emotions, isn't too dramatic one side or the other side, then the body adapts to that. It creates sensors and cell receptors to meet those needs, the needs of those balanced emotions, the needs of those thoughts, the needs of healthy functioning. And because the body molds to that and ends up having more of those cell receptors, more of those connections, that's the wavelength that comes off of somebody. And so when someone comes into my space and they get a few feet away from me, they feel me. And then they entrain to me, similar to like how all the clocks entrain together. So when someone gets into my space, my energy, my regular thought patterns, my regular emotions have a powerful effect on the other person. It gets them to relax. It opens them up. It gets them thinking in a new way. It helps them touch parts of themselves that they might not spend a lot of time in. It helps them reconnect with themselves, and they'll entrain to that. And it will open them up, and it will allow their body to heal itself. So when someone wants their body to start healing, then they come to me, and many times being in my energy tells their body or encourages their body to start that healing process. So working on your chakras, working on the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, ideas that are in a more positive direction have a really big impact on the people around you and the people you love and your friends and any clients you may have and your coworkers. And good morning, Darcel. So it has a very, working these areas like we've been working all week have a really profound effect on shaping your reality, on shaping the experiences that you have with other people. They did this really interesting research project many years ago, and you'll know that I'm a big, science nut for body-mind science. And it said people who were angry on a more frequent basis tended to be attacked by strangers more often than people that weren't. So when someone spends a lot of time in a hard space, good morning, Michelle, when they don't recognize it, when they don't release that energy, not just covering it up with happy mantras and happy affirmations, but actually cleaning up those stuck beliefs or those old beliefs and the anger and hurt and anxiety and getting their body in a good space. People who aren't in that space will trigger other people who get near them. So many times if someone spends a lot of time in a difficult and in a more conflicting or angry energy, the body adapts to that. It creates more cell receptors for those thoughts, feelings, and emotions. It adjusts itself physically, and then that resonance is felt away from them. That resonance is felt when someone gets in their presence. And if you're sensitive, you've probably noticed that with other people. But the really beautiful thing is it goes the opposite direction too. So when you work on these things and you clean these things up, when you get to a space where you have a lot of inner peace and happiness, and balance and well-being, then you will walk through the world and you will impact positively everyone that comes into contact with you. And it will trigger them in a positive way to open things up. And when you open things up, the body can finally heal itself. So you are a healer no matter where you go or what you do. And you become an even better healer when you're able to, good morning, Bijal, when you're able to really work on that space. So today we're talking about the pineal gland, the third eye, and we're talking, about above ourselves. So this would be the color indigo, and this would be the color violet. This would be, higher consciousness. But let's talk about the pineal gland, because it's really fun. The pineal gland is what many people would call the connection between the physical self and a spiritual experience, heightened consciousness, bigger awareness. That's the physical role of the pineal gland. It's part of the endocrine system. And the difference between the nervous system, like your spinal cord and all that stuff, is the spinal cord and your nervous system are electrical based. So, when you stand on the ground, you get the electrical resonance off of the earth, and it helps keep your nervous system balanced and grounded and comfortable and low key. Especially if you only have socks or feet, because rubber and shoes tend to get in the way. For the pineal gland, being part of the endocrine system, it works on the hormonal level. So it's part of your adrenals, it's part of your hypothalamus and pituitary. It uses hormonal chemicals in order to talk to everybody. So in reality, your adrenal system, your fight or flight, is directly related to the spiritual experiences that you have. Your hypothalamus and pituitary, your sexuality, your appetite, all of these physical symptoms or systems are all connected because they're part of this endocrine system, and they talk to things by making hormones, making those chemicals, and by also receiving them. So the pineal has its job is to connect us to those bigger levels of consciousness. So how do you open up your third eye? How do you work on your pineal gland? There are so many amazing ways to do that. Physical, practical, actual ways that you can do things. One of them, I'll start with the basic one we've been talking about all week, is focus. If you put your attention, wherever you put your attention is where your body sends more blood, lymph, nervous system signals, blah, blah, blah. It sends it to that and starts to wake it up. It starts to shake things up, decalcify it, break it up so that it's fluid, it's filled with blood so that it functions. So that's an easy way, with meditation and focus on that part of ourself, that will help open things up. You can also do it with stuff like sound and vibration, which is my next favorite thing. There's this great woman I work with, and she does something called acutonics. So this is a shout out to her and acutonics. It's using tuning forks to activate different acupressure points. So she can use a tuning fork, or I can use a tuning fork, or you can use a tuning fork, and you put it on your third eye, and that'll help vibrate. It'll send the vibrations into it to wake it up. It'll get it active. It'll get it. It'll shake it out of its lethargy, let's say. So the pineal gland is also the seat for serotonin and melatonin. So that's right. Your sleep or lack of it directly affects whether you end up having this higher consciousness, whether you end up having this spiritual experience or not. So light on any part of the body, good morning, Kelly. Light on any part of the body tells the body to shut down the pineal gland, to stop making melatonin. Good morning, Lisa. Or not to shut it down, but to stop making melatonin. Because it says, oh, we're awake. So it doesn't just have to be in your eyes. It doesn't just have to be, if your eyes are open. It has to do with any light on any part of your body. Hi, Lisa. Any part of your body is light sensitive. And that light directly gets in the way of your pituitary, of your pineal gland releasing this stuff, and creating the melatonin that you need for that cycle. The pineal gland also creates serotonin. So if you struggle with, those moods, if you struggle with that stuff during the winter, getting your pineal gland awake and active and functioning will help release more serotonin, will help give you that. Okay, so here's the next tip. So I read this great book, and I've talked about it before, called Potatoes Not Prozac. And it talks about mood and food. And one of the things it talks most about are complex carbohydrates, protein, and mood. So, okay, so let me give you a little science background. So tryptophan comes from all sorts of food, mainly, protein-based food. Tryptophan is a little tiny chemical that's in food, basically, meat and protein and stuff. And it's one of the foundations for serotonin and melatonin. It's one of those pieces that the pineal gland needs in order to create melatonin and serotonin. So if you don't have enough tryptophan, then your pineal gland isn't going to create the hormones that keep you happy, help you sleep, let you have good relationships, and give you a higher spiritual experience. So it takes time for the protein to break down, so it's good to eat the protein in the morning. But then here's this other thing. Since the pineal gland's in the brain, the tryptophan needs to get into the brain so the pineal gland can make the serotonin and melatonin. But we have that blood-brain barrier. You've probably heard of that before. It's where it's difficult for chemicals to get into the brain because, we want to keep our brain from getting toxic or poisoned in any way. And so it's a lot harder for things to make it into the brain, including tryptophan, which is that basis. Remember, the pineal gland needs it. So what you do is when you eat something that is sugar-based, a carbohydrate, to tell your body to release insulin, then the insulin gets released, it comes into your system, and it clears the path for the tryptophan to make it into your brain. Because it's so difficult to get through that blood-brain barrier. And the tryptophan, it's trying to fight its way through all of this other stuff in your system, all of these other amino acids and whatnot that your body's using. The insulin comes in and makes a pathway for it and makes it easier for the tryptophan to make it into the brain. So you can make melatonin and serotonin. So you can sleep, so you can regulate your sleep, and so you can feel happier and more balanced. So a good diet for your pineal gland is high protein in the morning, transferring to complex carbohydrates at night. And so typically before bed, here's where the potatoes come in. Typically before bed, I will eat something that is potato-based. Like I keep a big tub of potato salad in my refrigerator anymore. One, because I love potato salad. It's delicious. And the other thing is because the potatoes help keep my blood sugar level, and they help keep the complex carbs out. They help keep the things out of the way that are in the way so the tryptophan can make it into my brain. So that's kind of like a healthier diet for your pineal gland if you want to keep it functioning and working and all that other neat stuff. That's one way to do it. Good morning, Carolyn. How nice to see you. So, okay, another way to activate your pineal gland is through is through magnetic resonances. So anything that kind of penetrates your body, anything that the waves will penetrate your body will activate things in your body. And so that's why sometimes when we're around stronger magnetic waves, we feel really weird. We feel really off because it's shaking everything. It's activating everything into our system. And so that's something that ends up, I'm not suggesting you put tinfoil on your head, and I'm not suggesting that you put magnets on your head. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm making you aware that electromagnetic resonances, like from your phone, like from, all sorts of things, they do affect you. They do affect your brain. They affect how these parts of your brain end up making the hormones that they need to function. So the neat thing about the pineal gland is it's very easy to access. And one of the ways you can access it is not only through your third eye, but also by pressing the top of the roof of your mouth. Because the underside of the pineal gland is right above the roof of your mouth. And so when you take your tongue, good morning, Sue, nice to see you. So, you've heard about this in yoga classes and whatnot, and I always thought, what am I doing this for? This is ridiculous. But when you take the top of your tongue and you press the roof of your mouth, you sleep by the Wi-Fi router, Kathy. That's not good. Maybe consider not sleeping by the Wi-Fi router. Just something to consider. So when you take your tongue and press it to the roof of your mouth, good morning, Dana, nice to see you, and press it to the roof of your mouth, that's another way to help start activating your pineal gland. Do you see how there's a lot of stuff going on here? A lot of stuff that you can do to wake this up. So, okay, let's talk about vibration again, because I love vibration and how vibration shakes things up. And yesterday we talked about speaking your truth, and we talked about your throat chakra. So when you chant, when you hum, when you sing, have you ever noticed that it vibrates your whole body and you give your body this lovely vibrational massage? Don't you feel better after you do things like that? It's because your body acts like this big resonance chamber, and yes, light day in the office. Oh, hi, Sue. So you're sneaking in to listen to me. Perfect. You're playing hooky. I love it. Okay, so when you hum, when you chant, when you do those things, your whole body vibrates. So, you know what? Who cares if you can sing? Who cares if you've got a voice or you can sing even in tune? That stuff doesn't matter. What matters is that you love and like yourself enough that you want to give yourself a little bit of vibrational healing from the inside out. Singers know this. Absolutely. Musicians know this really well too, because then it's from the outside in, all that vibration, the instrument that they have ends up vibrating their body very closely, helps them feel, balanced. All those band members from high school that were always kind of, nice. Part of the reason they were nice is because they were playing instruments, and the instruments helped keep their body healthy and helped keep their mood in a good space. So you are your instrument. So chant, sing, do whatever you want to do in the shower, washing dishes, who cares? But let your body vibrate. Let it vibrate, and one of the things it'll do, especially if you do it at the same time while you're focusing on your pineal gland, is wake all that stuff up. Yep, Lisa, that's why chanting Om in yoga feels so good, because it goes through all of these different vibrations. It's, it's close vibration, it's big vibration, it's all of these great vibratory links. So it's like we're getting these massages on all these different levels. Gong baths are the same thing. Those are fun. For me, I love live concerts with great speakers, because if I go and it's a really good sound system, like one of my favorite artists, Joe Bonamassa, and I go see him in concert, I can feel the vibrations, and I walk away after an hour and a half of it feeling so good, because everything got resonated, everything got vibrated in all of these different ways, and it activated it. So these are things you need to start thinking about. If you want to have these great spiritual experiences, you want to get your pineal gland woken up and healthy and functioning. Because here's this little extra secret having to do with the pineal gland. In certain situations, it creates something called DMT. And they've done, probably about 15, 20 years ago, they did a lot of research on DMT and higher consciousness spiritual experiences. And the same DMT is found in things like ayahuasca. It's found in other hallucinatory or spiritual, herbal plants that have been around for thousands of years that shamans have used in order to keep their pineal gland functioning in a way can take them to higher levels of consciousness. You don't have to go that direction. Honestly, you don't. You don't have to go the direction of traveling to Peru or Colombia and having, ayahuasca ceremonies or anything like that. Because your pineal gland will naturally make DMT inside of itself in different experiences, in heightened experiences, breath work. So if you do any breath work sorts of things, Google it. You can get your pineal gland to release DMT. If you have heightened sexual experiences, all of those really high sorts of experiences, they will usually get your pineal gland to, excrete this DMT. And these researchers, what they did is they isolated DMT and they gave it to people in experiment. They kept them in a hospital bed and put all these devices on them so they could monitor stuff. And people would be out for 10, 15 minutes, but they would come back having these experiences of oneness with the universe, of seeing other dimensions, of seeing things that their system normally couldn't see. So here's the thing going on. Our body and our brain is constantly receiving millions of bits of information every second, but we're only consciously aware of so many of them. So there's a lot going on around us, whether it be wavelengths like radio waves or, vibrations or colors that, we can't see. Good morning, Pam. How nice to see you. So there's a lot more going on around us than we are aware of. And something like having your pineal gland release DMT helps you become aware of some of these things, aware of what's going on around you that your normal everyday life doesn't notice. So here's another great thing about pineal and the heart. So they are very directly connected. They kind of, they sync off of each other. And your heart is one of the most concentrated parts of concentrated electromagnetic activity in your body. Your heart is constantly sending off electromagnetic waves. Remember we were talking about that a few minutes ago? So when you do a lot of great heart work, when you, activate your heart by letting yourself having emotions and thoughts and ideas and beliefs and feelings that you normally wouldn't let yourself feel, the heart's almost always involved in some way. So even hard feelings, negative feelings, difficult feelings, those all activate the heart too, and those are all good as well. Because when you keep the heart healthy by having a full, rich emotional experience in life, when you get out of, just your one pattern of thinking or feeling, then the heart stays healthy. And when the heart stays healthy, it puts off, stronger electromagnetic waves because it's functioning better. And so they can be felt further away from the body. They can also be felt further away within your body. So if you want to positively affect your pineal gland, then you want to make sure that, you do really good heart chakra work. You do really great work to keep that, to keep it healthy, to keep it functioning and doing what it needs to do so you have a full experience. The last things are kind of basic, diet, water. Because if you don't have your basic needs met, you're not going to have a spiritual experience because the pineal gland won't be hydrated enough. It won't have what it needs to function. So think about the basics. Think about making sure that your pineal gland gets the things it needs to function. And then think about playing with it and activating it in different ways, by working with your heart, by working with sound, by working with breath work, through your focus and meditation. And when you do this, all of these compound, they all accumulate and accentuate each other. and keeps that part of you as healthy as possible. So the last thing we're going to talk about is violet, that chakra that's above you. We won't talk very long about that one. We'll have to do that another day. But that's when you have got when you're relaxed and open at the top of your head, so that you can sense and feel what's going on around you. The top of your head, your skull has, different seams in it from when you were a baby and the plates would move. It has different sensitivities to it. And when you're able to be relaxed and be open, then you can sense part of those things we talked about. You can sense things that you wouldn't normally be able to sense. And it can help you have that feeling of connectedness. You've got the groundedness on the base of your spine, but then you also have this interconnectedness that's above your head. And so it's a felt sense. It's something where if you put your focus above there, it sends your nerve endings out. You're focusing out around you. And so you end up being more sensitive to the things that you normally wouldn't be, because you're focused on how mad you are, or how this person irritated you, or why aren't they driving correctly, or whatever it may be. You're focused on something else. But when you take some time and focus on this space that's above you, it helps you be aware of natural phenomenons and natural wonders that you aren't normally aware of. It's a nice way to feel connected. It's a nice way to feel this oneness of the universe, and like you're not just isolated, whether it be physically, emotionally, mentally, or whatever. It's a way to feel less isolated with the world around you, working on this chakra above you. So, good morning, Janine. I'm so glad you could join me. I hope you're able to watch the replay. So we are done for the week on chakras, unless somebody comes to me and says, oh my gosh, this is so much great information. Could you do another week on it? If that's what you want, let me know. Otherwise, I don't know what I'm going to do next week. Good morning, Beth. I'll still do live streams. We'll have to figure out what the topic it'll be. It's always fun to see what shows up in the world around me, that we can really make a mind-body connection with, so that you can understand it on a level that you feel you can control, that it isn't just a metaphor that you're kind of like, huh, what's going on? It's something that you feel that you can manage through diet, something physical, something you can actually do, and not just, hope is happening, hope this works. It's something that you can actually do and feel and sense, and so you feel like you're making progress, you're moving in a good direction. So send me your thoughts, ideas, beliefs, whatever, and we'll have fun with them. If you like this, go to inspiremassage.com, sign up for the emails, because I send out the live streams so everybody can see them and watch them at their leisure. And I think that's it. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I believe I'll be doing something on Christmas, so I'll see you Christmas morning. If for whatever reason the universe gets in the way, you bet, Lisa. If the universe gets in the way for whatever reason, then I'll see you on Tuesday. Okay? So happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever it may be. I just want you to have some peace and love and joy in this time period. Always, of course, but in this time period, because this is kind of what we've set aside in our life to do that. So I'll see you next week. Thanks. Bye.